Happy St. Patty's Day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the special green podcast of the Corn Nation 5-part podcast. St. Patrick's Leprechaun Day, pot of gold, everything there is about Nebraska sports podcast. I'm Todd O'Wolverton. And I'm joined by our fearless founder, all-around good guy, published author, corned beef lover, John Damn Johnston. Actually, John O. Johnston. John, happy St. Patrick's Day.
God, you didn't even seem like you were that drunk. When we talked before this started, what the hell? Was you just decide to pound 38 Guinnesses?
I got
there it is.
A wee bit of Irish whiskey.
Oh, okay.
I'm toasting the men and the women from the old land.
The old land? What's that?
The old land.
Is
Back
Wilburton
in County Kilkenny, Cork.
Is Wilburton an Irish name?
No, Wolverton is English.
Oh, wow. What the hell?
Well, yeah, I mean, I should probably be shot.
Yeah, you should.
Because we would have been Protestant English. Yeah, and Irish wouldn't have liked us very much.
Well, Johnston is originated from the Johnstone clan, and that is Scottish.
Scottish.
Yeah.
Stonecutters. John the Stonecutter.
I don't know what the fuck they did.
I
imagine they drank a lot and didn't wear underwear and showed off their butt a lot.
Well, I mean, and that tradition has carried on with you.
Oh, my God.
Well, as we record this, it is St. Patrick's Day. And
what? Shocking.
Yeah, shocking. And I've got my Huskers hat on. This was the freebie at the baseball game the other day at Haymarket Park. I was all excited. It said $1 hot dogs and free green hats to the first 500. I was second in line, and I was expecting a green baseball cap, green baseball cap with an N on it. But no, they had to give us these ridiculous looking leprechaun hats. And with Huskers painted on it. And I feel I was taken advantage of, John. But
it's a beautiful hat. It's a collector's item.
Well, I'll tell you what I would have given anything. I went out to dinner with my parents tonight. They came up to good old Council, Tucky, and my dad informed me that he went to coffee this morning, purposefully late, and he was wearing his Irish hat. Now, what would 83-year-old Doyle Wolverton look like in an Irish hat like this? I can't imagine. So, hey, let's talk about Husker sports, sports in general. It is that time of season, commonly known as March Madness, and shortly before we came on the air, we had the tube turned on, and we witnessed one of those 15-over-2 seed upsets with St. Peter's knocking off Kentucky, which makes everybody feel good because, number one, they're Kentucky, and number two, they're from the SEC conference. And everybody loves Cinderella. But, you know, John, I'm not a huge basketball fan by any means, but I really do get excited when March comes along because there's just that excitement that accompanies these games. And it's a lot of fun just to turn your TV on and follow along. How do you feel about good old March Madness?
How do I feel? Did you do a bracket, Todd?
For the first year in many, I unfortunately did not do a bracket. I did see that with the Coronation bracket contest, I saw today that they have over 60 brackets filled out and submitted. That's pretty doggone good.
That's pretty good for the last minute kind of thing.
Well, yeah, last minute.
I did 2 brackets.
And John, I've heard a rumor and I'm having a hard time believing this rumor, John. Is it possible that my good friend, John from the North, may have chosen the Iowa Hawkeyes to reach the finals of the NCAA tournament on your bracket?
I picked them to play Gonzaga in the final game in both of my brackets because I knew that if I did that, it'd probably doom them.
Thank you, John. Thank you for exercising all of those powers that you have to doom the Hawkeyes and see them get beat today in the first round by the Richmond Spiders.
It was very, I wept for them.
You wept for them.
I did. No. What? Hey, Iowa Twitter was very, and they were not happy with what happened today.
I saw a little blip that apparently they were a little upset that Richmond might have been kind of physical. Maybe they played a little bit rough, as if playing in the Big Ten Conference didn't prepare you for a physical basketball game.
What was funny is, in the last 2 minutes of the game, I mean, the refs pretty much swallowed their whistles, and Iowa could have gotten some calls. But Iowa was 6 of 29 from three. And that's really what they've been so hot on. And, I did feel sorry for the Bohannon kid. That's the only kid I felt sorry for. But, because he's Irish?
What?
yeah, that's it. That poor boy. He didn't beat on the St. Patty's Day. He didn't deserve to go out like that. How's that for terrible? But 6 for 29 on three. I mean, that's where the game was lost. And what was funny is they probably could have played inside more and won that game. And you kind of look at it and you go, Fran, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, losing. That's what you're doing. Yeah. So I cried for Iowa early. I really did. I wept. Tears.
Well, on the flip side, tomorrow the Nebraska women open play in the women's side of March Madness, and I'm excited for Amy Williams. I'm excited for the women's basketball team. I'm excited for the fan base. Hopefully they have a better experience than the Iowa men did today. It'd be nice to see the women maybe get a win or two and then see what happens. A lot of times in this tournament, if you can get through the first couple of rounds, then it becomes almost an anybody can win, situation.
In the women's tournament or the men's?
Well, in the women's, because pretty much it goes to chalk. And there very rarely is there a first or second round upset in the women's tournament.
It'd be nice to have women's basketball get more parity.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, it still is a sport with the haves and the have-nots, so to speak. One of the things that I'm kind of interested in with the women's tournament is, as far as Nebraska is concerned, if Nebraska wins their first round game, in all likelihood, they're going to face off against the Louisville Cardinals. And Louisville has had very good women's basketball in the last few years. They're coached by former Nebraska assistant Jeff Walls. And Jeff Walls was an unpaid assistant back in the Paul Sanderford days. And I got to know Jeff a little bit back at that time. And he's gone on to a lot of success as a head coach with the Louisville team. So that would be kind of an interesting matchup, I guess, for me personally to watch, and be nice to see Nebraska beat them.
It would be. It would be Friday at 2:30 p.m. and we'll hopefully get to see Nebraska get a win. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of that lately.
No, we haven't.
Let's check on Creighton. Creighton's down by 1 in overtime with a minute 22 left.
Well.
Oh, you know what else? You know what else happened? Did you watch New Mexico State play?
No, I didn't, but I heard that Teddy Buckets, former Nebraska player, Teddy Allen, apparently he had a pretty good game.
He scored their last 15 points. I mean, he literally just won the game for them. I mean, he did the rest of his team. I think this is the second leading scorer on his team had 9 points or something. He pretty much, I don't think anybody else hardly took any shots, but he literally at the end of that game just went, okay, I'm just going to go win now. And he was so shy about it.
I'm sure he was. I'm
yeah.
Sure. Now, does he have any eligibility left, or is this it for him? Because, I think he could probably attend his 5th or 6th college, and maybe,
I'd be surprised if he does. But, next year, maybe he'll play for UCLA. Who knows?
There you go.
And then let's see what else happened today. Indiana got smoked. My son was on the couch this morning. We have 2 TVs set up in our living room, and he was screaming at Michigan because he wanted them to lose. I wanted to get a video.
Did Juwan Howard punch anybody today?
No, he kept yelling about that too. But it's amazing to watch, I guess, March Madness and be intrigued with it every year because it is, I think, just fun sports. And the fact that, you have such a weird conference like the Big Ten. Indiana got crushed. Who else lost? Iowa lost. And, the Big Ten is normally accepted as one of the best conferences. And you're kind of like, okay, how much are we going to suck? And then you get these schools like Richmond. Not really Richmond got into the tourney is because they upset Davidson in the Atlantic 10 tournament. So otherwise, I don't think they would have got in. I don't think they'd have got at large, but I'm not a bracket, I'm not a bracketology guy, but it has been amazing fun.
Well, March also brings about another one of my favorite sporting events, and that's the NCAA Wrestling tournament. Nebraska qualified 8 wrestlers. Today was the first day of action. They wrestle 2 rounds on the championship side, and they wrestle 2 rounds. 1 round on the consolation side of the bracket today. Nebraska had a decent day. They moved 4 of their wrestlers into the quarterfinals, the round of 16. To no surprise, Ridge Lovett did a really good job today and got a couple of wins at 149 pounds. And Ridge is actually set up pretty good. A wrestler seated above him that he'll face off against. Excuse me, I'm thinking of the wrong weight class. But Ridge Lovett is up against a wrestler he has not yet seen this year, which when you're preparing for Ridge Lovett, that can be a very dangerous situation because Ridge is so unorthodox and he's just a very unique wrestler. So I like the chances for Ridge, to get another win and perhaps advance into the semifinals at 149. Then Mikey Labriola at 174 pounds. He had a couple of wins today. Looks like maybe he's back in the groove. Unfortunately for him, he had a bad Big Ten tournament, and that impacted his seeding. So while he's in the round of 16 right now, he is going to be up against the top seed, Aaron Starachi from Penn State in his next match. So not to say that he can't beat him, but certainly, it's going to be a tough match. Then down up at 197 pounds, Eric Schultz was the 3rd seeded wrestler, and he is into the round of 16 as well. And surprise, surprise, Eric Schultz is, for the 8,732nd time, is going to face off against Mr. Warner from the University of Iowa. And generally speaking, the winner scores 3 points. The loser scores 2 points.
Wow.
And at least in the last 4 or 5 times they've wrestled, Eric Schultz has come out on the top. And they tend to they tend to wrestle some of the most boring matches anyone ever watches, but it really doesn't matter. All that matters at the end is who gets his hand raised. And Eric Schultz has done a good job in the last few times that he's been out against Warner. So I'd like to think that he's got the upper hand and could advance to another round. And then the last guy who has advanced would be Christian Lance at 285 pounds. He probably is Nebraska's most improved wrestler this year, and he has benefited directly from the fact that Tervel Delognev came on to the coaching staff. Tervel was now a bronze medalist in the Olympics, I think 2012 Olympics. He's a University of Nebraska Kearney graduate. He'd been coaching in Ohio at Ohio State for the Ohio Wrestling Club, but he's back in Lincoln, and he's had a profound impact on Christian Lance. Christian Lance, the last match that he won, he beat an undefeated wrestler from the Air Force Academy, and so that was a bit of an upset. So,
yeah, that's a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And on this podcast before, when we've talked wrestling, we've discussed that the heavyweights are just phenomenal. I mean, it is a phenomenally strong weight class. What's misleading, though, is you got Gable Stevenson, who is so incredibly dominant. But, when Gable Stevenson goes off to the WWE next year, and for the next 15 years, the United States has heavyweights that will dominate at the international level, because those guys are in college right now and they're that good. So, and of course, Gable Stevenson did win both of his matches. Here's something I didn't realize until one of the announcers brought it up today. After he won his second match, he has won with bonus points every match that he has wrestled this year. So he has either won by a major decision, a technical fall, or a pin every time he has set foot on the mat today. And I guess he put something out on Twitter leading up to the tournament that he's going to put on a show in Detroit, and he's going to leave his boots on the mat. And this is going to be
wow.
So who knows what to expect from Gable Stevenson. Penn State's out in front of the tournament right now. Surprisingly, Iowa's in third. Iowa lost a couple of big wrestlers today. Michigan's sitting really, really good, and I think they're in second place right now. They have 7 guys in the quarterfinals. Penn State's got 6. Nebraska's got 4. Nebraska's 6th right now in the team rankings. So hopefully Chad Redd can win some matches on the backside. Hopefully the Peyton Robb and Taylor Venz can win a few matches there as well. And it'd be nice to see Bubba Wilson get a win or two as well. But not a bad day for Nebraska wrestling. So,
what else going on?
Well, the football players are all on spring break.
We've gone through half of spring practice already.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to believe, isn't it? So,
yeah.
Have
you paid attention?
Well, I've paid a little bit of attention, maybe a little more attention than I have in past years. Only because of the intrigue, I think, with some of the new players that they've got around, and I don't know. I might even watch a little bit of the spring game this year. We'll see.
What I paid attention to? I paid attention to the Omaha and the kind of the same newspaper now. Their reaction, excuse me, the reaction people have to their articles on social media. And the reactions are, first of all, it's largely a ghost town. And secondly, they're always, along the lines of, this is the same crap we've heard now for years. And I just look at this and I'm still like, wow, everybody's really in prove it mode. Nobody's really paying that close attention to this stuff.
So what I hear you saying is that the fan base, their comments towards the media is that the media is trying to feed us a line again. Is that in essence what?
Well, I think that, the last time we did the podcast, I talked about how I tweeted something negative about Scott Frost and it blew up. And I think from, the 16 whatever years of doing this, what you learn is that the off season, everybody wants to hear good news about the football program. And if you don't deliver that good news, and if you're a negative person about the football program, people really hate you, because the other people, they don't really get into stuff. They're off doing shit. But the people that are paying attention, if you're not delivering them good, positive stuff, your career as a media person ends. And I'm not making that up. I know that Lee Barfneck for years was the guy that always, was kind of the crotchety old man in Nebraska newspaper reporting about the Huskers. But pretty much for everybody else, I think Dirk Chatelain could probably get away with that now. But you don't really get away with a lot of negativity this time of year toward the football program. Sam McCune wrote an article about how Scott Frost's previous coaching staff on the offense didn't have a lot of Big Ten acumen, basically. Now, I didn't read the whole article, but I thought it was interesting he wrote that. And well, I don't know. It's kind of like, let's sell the new staff, or and you know what? The comments by people were, they weren't great. We have a new offensive staff. They were, he had that coaching staff for 4 years. If he didn't realize that, he's an idiot along those lines. Greg joins us.
Well, yeah, John.
What?
Greg Omahachka joined us. Our favorite Irish bohemian from Illinois. Happy St. Patrick's Day, or if you have been watching the NCAA basketball tournament, happy St. Peter's beating Kentucky Day. So
I haven't. That's news to me, but it's good news. I do like it when a basketball blue blood loses. And oddly enough,
like Iowa.
I wouldn't call them a blue blood.
We are for the purposes. It makes the pain better.
Okay. Have they ever won a natty in
No, God, no.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? You know what all three of us have in common with Fran McCaffrey?
We don't have to worry about a basketball game to go.
No, none of us have gone to a Sweet 16 either. I mean, that's the neat thing about basketball. Go ahead. I'm cutting you off again.
It's okay. No, it's hey, top of the evening to you. Sorry I'm late. What have I missed?
Todd went through wrestling, and we've gone over some of the basketball. And Todd has I think it's a neat green hat. Apparently he got it for going to the baseball game, and he was disappointed.
I wanted
he didn't get a baseball cap, like a little wiener. He got that hat instead of a baseball hat, and I would wear that hat anywhere.
Todd, do you want to trade hats?
Well, I think my wife would prefer that I trade hats with you.
You want the courage.
I will give you this delightful fitted Nebraska hat for your green shamrock Husker hat.
He has a giant head.
My dad had to rescue this hat for me tonight because otherwise my wife was sending it for a garage sale.
What?
7 and 3/8.
What the hell?
Would your dome fit in a 7 3/8 hat, Todd?
I'm a 7 5/8 guy. 7 and 5.
See, I told you he's big. He's got a giant head, guy. And it's only gotten bigger. His fat head has gotten bigger as he's gotten older.
I believe every bit of that. Well, here, let me start by saying I'm blessed to be here with you, fine gentlemen. I apologize for my tardiness as I opened up my laptop as I always do to join, and nothing worked. The internet browser didn't work. None of my audio or video programs would open. So I told you guys, start without me. I'll join in when I can. Unfortunately, that was like 40 minutes ago, so here I am. I'm happy to be here. I don't have any green beer. I'm not even wearing green. I'm just a big loser all around tonight, guys. So I apologize.
Okay.
I appreciate your patience with me and your generosity of spirit for even allowing me to be here.
Yeah,
John or Greg. we need to get on track because John has continued to take us off track. So if you
what have I done?
You haven't partook in the Irish excitement, the Irish. You got to be Irish.
Oh, fine then. I'll get with the program.
John
Buckets
Biden.
of shit. How's that song go?
Oh,
it's me. I'm shit-faced.
No,
that is some U.S. country song. I was thinking the song that you don't sing unless you want to be shot by somebody. It's if you had the luck of the Irish, you'd be something and wish you were dead. If you had the luck of the Irish, you wish you were British instead. It's an old IRA song. I shouldn't even say it, actually.
Greg,
we should move on.
John posed the question earlier if I had paid any attention at all to spring football. Have you been paying any attention at all to spring football?
Boy, let me tell you, I have been paying so much attention to the football that happens in the springtime that I can tell you with 100% certainty that football has been happening in the springtime.
Okay.
We're a fine bunch. I know that Scott Frost went on a podcast with Will Compton and his Bussin' with the Boys podcast, and they talked about some kind of thing about what Big Ten coaches would you like to fight?
And he didn't want to fight Harbaugh.
He said Harbaugh was kind of crazy.
By the way, the luck of the Irish that you were talking about there, John.
Yeah.
That's a John Lennon and Yoko Ono song. And I'm just looking at the lyrics, and it kind of looks like a horrible song.
Yeah, it is. So we should move away from it.
I never heard it. I was very curious. I thought it was like an old ditty. There's a line in here. This is what I'm learning. Where did oh, come on now. 1,000 years of torture and hunger drove the people away from their land. A land full of beauty and wonder was raped by the British brigands.
Yeah.
I feel like Mr. Lennon and Miss Ono have a very specific side that they are taking in the cause.
Yeah. It's a Not Imagine by John Lennon.
Not Imagine.
It's Not Imagine. There's no
not
heaven. You know what I mean?
Chance.
Can we talk about it? And I don't want to talk back on topic on Nebraska football and that other podcast that you mentioned, Bussin' with the Boys. I'm trying to say this delicately because I like Will Compton as a former Husker but does his social media, I don't know if you guys even follow social media, but does he not come off as just a real simple dude, bro?
He's a bro.
Okay. And I'm not, hey, it's made him a lot of money, but I think I've aged out of where that is kind of appealing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're a dad. You have to do that now.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
That's what happens. I mean, you can't be a bro with little tiny kids. If you ever go through life and you run into like coaches that are bros and they have 5 years old and they're still bros, you're kind of like, okay, did you skip the part where you're supposed to grow up now? And
this coming from the person who told me that I was the one who had to be responsible for teaching my child how to swear, and if I didn't do it, then he was going to do it.
You know what? That's how you look at life thing.
Okay. All right.
That's not a bro thing. I don't see that as a bro thing. Okay. But yeah, Will Compton's pretty much a bro. And I think, somebody needs to have a Husker bro podcast. And I haven't even looked at all the Husker podcasts lately because I'm trying to finish a book. I don't know what that is. A book. So I have spent not a lot of time on
Manage Your Damage coming soon.
Yeah.
We talked about it last time, so we can skip it this time. No offense. Todd, I haven't seen you in weeks. How are you, sir?
I'm doing dandy.
You look dandy. You look You look dandy in your green hat, eh?
I'm worn out. Couple of long days. Did go watched a little bit of the Nebraska baseball game on Tuesday. I'll tell you what, I saw a couple of games down when I was in Texas. Saw him win 2 games on Saturday down there against Northwestern State and University of Texas Arlington. I thought after watching them that day that they were turning the corner, and unfortunately, I think the corner's pretty wide or pretty round. I think it's going to take a while to get around the corner. And,
it's less a corner, more a roundabout.
Yeah, I think there you go. That first game against Omaha was painful, and they were lucky, in my opinion. They were lucky to get game 2. And then Tuesday, I went and watched them play New Mexico State, and they're up. I mean, they're up 12-0 going into the 9th inning. I mean, they have dominated that baseball game 12-0. And when the dust cleared, it was 12-6. And while it's still a 6-point victory, and you have to feel really, really good about a 6-point victory, giving up 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th is just painful. And
the way they did it.
Exactly. And then, then yesterday they had to come from behind. They were down, I think, 5-2 in the 8th, going into the 8th. And then they scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. It was 5-4. They held New Mexico State in the top of the 9th, and they came to bat. And Efrain Cervantes became the hero of the day, driving in the winning run, and Nebraska ended up winning 6-5.
That was nice for him, because he is not. I mean, when he stepped up, I thought, well, there's the game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, because he hasn't hit the ball well at all, has he?
I tell you what, he's turning into my favorite player, and he is. I've always appreciated good defensive infielders. I love watching. Those guys with the glove that have, that they're quick and they've got lateral movement and they just, lay out and make plays. And I think Efrain is one of the better defensive infielders that I've seen at Nebraska in quite a few years. Last year, it seemed like every 4 out of 5 times that he came up to bat, they were forcing him to sacrifice bunt. And, the few times that he did swing away, he'd pop up or whatever, generally made contact. But, he's had a chance to swing the bat this year, and he's been kind of Mr. Tough Luck at times. He's barreled up a few times and really hit the ball hard, but hit it right at people. But it was, like I'm with John. It was fun to see him, drive in that winning run with a hard hit ball, and, be able to walk off and, puff his chest out a little bit and feel good about himself. So
what is going on with the baseball team, Todd? What do you think?
I think,
is it all the new players from the transfer portal, and they just haven't gelled yet? They haven't been able to come together as a team.
They're playing a lot of young players. They're playing a lot of young players. I mean, when your batting order right now is 2 true freshmen at the top of the order, that speaks volumes. You have returning players that offensively are really struggling. Cam Chick, he's not hitting 200 right now. And I had a home run, the other night or yesterday. That was a big hit for him. But Cam is really, really struggling at the plate. What the problem is, and this is oversimplification, is there's absolutely no consistency in any part of the game. If the pitchers are on, it seems like the offense just has nothing going. Or maybe you got good enough pitching and good enough hitting, and then the defense lets them down with, what's not very typical with Will Bolt teams, some errors, both physical errors and mental errors. My opinion is, I just don't think they know how to. I'm not sure they know how to win tough games. I'm not sure. I'm not sure right now that they've developed that mental toughness, to that fortitude to get through tough times. And that's my opinion. So
I think as long as they are losing games by a touchdown or less, then I think a lot of people still have a lot of hope, especially going into next year.
I think I'll tell you what, I'm real curious how they're going to play when they start playing Big Ten teams. Now, unfortunately, this weekend they're playing Texas A&M, Corpus Christi here, in Lincoln. But then next weekend, the Michigan Wolverines come to town. Michigan had Vanderbilt down, earlier this week and ended up losing late in the game. But, the bottom line is that Nebraska generally improves significantly once they get to play back at home a little bit. Now, they've kind of sputtered, a little bit, but we'll see. They've got the potential with the pitching staff. I mean, Shea Shannon threw a game down in Texas that was one of the best dominating pitching performances I've seen from a Nebraska pitcher in a long time. Complete game, which was the first since like 2014. He was absolutely in command the entire game. Dustin McCarville, the transfer that came in from Grand Canyon, he's been the Sunday starter. He looked good, against New Mexico State on Tuesday. He's actually looked good in every one of his outings. Kyle Perry's the one that he's on a roller coaster. And and Cody Frank, he looked good in relief. He had a good start. And then his most recent start, he just got blasted. So if the starting pitching can just kind of even out a little bit, and hopefully the offense comes around, I still think they can win the Big Ten Conference. I think they can. I think they got the tools. And Coach Bolt, he's been continuing, he's really trying to find the best combination. The lineups have changed constantly. Putting Bryce Matthews back at second base, I think that's big. This Core Jackson, this freshman kid from Canada that's playing shortstop right now, he's going to be a player. I mean, he looks like a freshman right now, but boy, he's going to be a good one.
Drew
Christo really is struggling.
Wasn't he like a big time recruit or something?
Yes, he was. He was probably the top pitching recruit that they had, but he's struggling. Yeah.
Greg, go ahead.
A moment ago, Todd, with a vote of confidence, you said that the tools are in place. So speaking of tools, Tom Brady's coming out of retirement.
Now who's going off track?
It's sports related. It's fine. I have questions. I'm seeking input. At 53 and a half years old, does Tom Brady have anything left to prove?
He has nothing left to prove.
Right? I mean, they've changed the rule book for him. He's cheated his way to multiple titles. There's nothing left for him to do. Go build your mansion on your tropical island with your model wife and your kids and just go away. Like I'm past the point. Like, look, all right. I'm going to say this because I have to say it this way. As a person of a Christian faith, right? It's not a karmic belief system. We're all saved by the grace of God, but I also tend to not think negatively, but so I don't wish ill on him. I just want him to take his money and his ill-gotten trophies and go away.
You're
Disappear.
Triggered by this. This is what
First of all, I'm not. We don't use words like triggered. All right, I'm not a snowflake. I'm just a bitter NFL fan who was finally happy to see the day that Tom Brady would not be on television. And it happened for 4 weeks.
He's going to do a movie, though. He's going to do a movie with Sally Fields and Jane Fonda.
about all these old ladies coming to watch him play.
Yeah.
Is that why he's coming back? Is they need more footage? Like we didn't get enough of footage. We need some new in-game footage.
You know what? He probably has a new restructured contract that says he can use the footage for not the level of money it takes to buy NFL footage. You know, we tried this years ago with Scott Frost, right? Yes, we did. With Scott Frost, I can't. It was a while back with Scott Frost. I think he'd come out of coaching. It was quite a few years ago, but the NFL wanted. I tried to negotiate with the NFL to see what it would cost to just use some footage of Scott Frost playing NFL football. It was $5,000 for like 3 seconds, 3 fucking seconds. And I was like, oh my God, what is like 10,000? And this is Scott Frost, for God's sake. Can you imagine what 3 seconds of Tom Brady cost?
That makes a lot of sense. Have either of you seen American Underdog, the Kurt Warner story starring Zachary Levi? No. I've not yet.
Like, you know what? It looks like too good of a story. It looks like too nice of a story.
It is too good of a story, but there are elements of the story that I did not know. I listened to a podcast last week, I think, maybe 2 weeks back, where Zachary was a guest on, and though they were talking about, the movie and the story, the Kurt and Brenda Warner story, but the actor Zachary Levi, had to suit. I mean, he had to. I think he said he was at a 4-week, 6-week, something like that, basic training for being a quarterback. All the footwork and the throwing motion and things like that. One of the takeaways was he's like, I got a lot better at being a quarterback, but there was, for the on field stuff, like they weren't pulling NFL footage. They were out creating everything. So, but to your point, John, that makes a lot of sense. If 3 seconds, is $5,000, but he said, like there was him, he took some shots, he took some contact. He had a couple of different, like body doubles, for some of the more precise throws that they had to drop on a dime and things like that. So, but yeah, I haven't seen it yet. It's on my to watch list. I think you can get it on Amazon Prime Video for $15, something like that. I mean, it seems like it's well worth it. I was not a Rams fan, but I was living in the St. Louis area when Trent Green got hurt and Kurt Warner came around and that whole story unfolded. The Sports Illustrated cover basically asking like, who is this guy? And then of course the Super Bowl run. So, it's a fascinating story that I hope people check out.
As a guy, he doesn't suck.
No, he's not the worst. He's no Tom Brady.
Hey.
Can I say I want to voice one more opinion on this? People call Tom Brady. Yeah. Okay. People call Tom Brady the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Let's at least 3 of his titles have asterisks ahead of them. And at the time that Brady was playing, the rules had changed massively to protect quarterbacks. So I consider the greatest of all time as far as quarterbacks go in the NFL to be Joe Montana.
That's fair.
And as a Steelers fan, and Terry Bradshaw also has 4 Super Bowl rings, but Montana's still, for me, and again, maybe it's because Bradshaw predates me a little bit, and I kind of came of age and watched the Joe Montana era, kind of unfold. But I think Montana's the go. And apparently there's a very good, like Michael Jordan-esque, I can't remember the name of the ESPN series, the special on Jordan, but there's a Joe Montana like documentary series that's on the Peacock app for the people who subscribe to Peacock. So check that out. Check out American Underdog. Anything to turn your focus away from Tom Brady.
Well,
focus here. No Tom Brady.
You can
Focus
watch.
here.
You can
No
watch the Bradshaw bunch because you can see Terry Bradshaw in his skivvies. You know, he's not afraid. He's confident enough in himself that he walks around his ranch, you know, in his undies. He allows his granddaughter to put makeup on him, and you know, I have a lot of respect for him.
You're a Pittsburgh Steeler fan.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, watching them back in the day, because I am old enough. I mean, they were amazing to watch. Lynn Swann, who was a Rocky Blyer, I think, was with them.
Rocky Blyer, Franco Harris, John Stallworth, Jack
I was going to
Lambert,
go through some of them.
Jack Ham, Mean Joe Green. Sorry.
What was their defensive line?
Steel Curtain.
There you go. Yeah, they were fun to watch. I mean, as football players go, some of the stuff that they did, and I mean, that was back when the game was a hell of a lot more violent, I think, just in sheer we allow you to kill people kind of thing. You know,
the Immaculate Conception, that was pretty cool.
I remember reading, so I, as a Steelers fan, and I apologize to everybody that I know this is going to piss off, but I was a Steelers fan before I was a Husker fan, so grain of salt, I guess. But Jerome Bettis is my favorite football player. I like the way he played. I like his style. And I have his autobiography, but I also have Dan Rooney, the late Dan Rooney's autobiography. And I'll never forget, there's a story in Rooney's book. It was Dan Rooney, my 75 years with the NFL and the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's talking about being at Kent State scouting Jack Lambert. And for whatever reason, the practice field, the football field, whatever, was unavailable. So they were doing full speed drills in the parking lot. And Lambert was flying around. And then after, getting up off the ground and picking up chunks of gravel out of his forearms. And that's like, that's kind of toughness we want here in Pittsburgh. And it turned into a Hall of Fame career. So,
well, that was back when football players weren't worth like $80 million a year. And they go, go out in the parking lot and beat yourself to death. We'll find another guy for $50,000. He can run his head into a steel post for us. Now they're a little bit more concerned. They're now a little bit more concerned about their assets.
Baker Mayfield wants out of Cleveland.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Turning into an NFL podcast.
Well, so here's the thing. Part of it is I don't see a problem with us expanding our focus, especially in the offseason. We've got to be more well-rounded. But it's big news, right? Going back from his time in Oklahoma, the famously going out and spiking the flag in Columbus, and then being drafted by the Browns and taking them to a place where the Browns had not been in several years, and then playing injured last year, and then pretty much saying, wishy-washy with him. I don't blame him. I would want to run out of Cleveland too. Like my hair's on fire.
The rotten son really doesn't like Baker Mayfield. He thinks he's a terrible quarterback. I think that he is not amongst the elites, but he's certainly better than some of the shitty quarterbacks in the NFL. So I would say get the fuck out of Cleveland. Fuck Cleveland. I mean, that place is a hellhole anyway.
Nebraska football, the spring game is coming up next month. And I'm very excited to watch that.
Are you?
Yeah, very.
I'm hoping to go. I hope I can go. I've been struggled with fatigue lately, but I would like to get to Lincoln. I mean, now that looks like we're clearing up this pandemic shit. I would hope that we can, get to Lincoln a little bit more and get to maybe see Todd.
Hey, I'll be there.
I'm hopeful.
Keep that hat for me.
I'm hopeful. I haven't even talked to the boss about it. By the boss, I mean my wife. But I think it'd be cool to get to Lincoln in the fall for a home game.
Doable.
Especially if we leave the kids here.
You can't
and
do
no
that.
Offense. Sure,
you can't do that. No, you can't. You can. Your mother, your wife is a mother. Speaking of people, I want to bring something up that's been bothering me.
Would you want to?
Okay.
No, I have one follow up.
Okay.
Would you want to take two 18-month-olds to Memorial Stadium with a 6-year-old?
No. But you need to take them somewhere where they, they're safe and comforted.
Right.
You can't just drive away 400 miles or whatever it is.
No, I would take them to my parents' house. Leave them in Illinois while my wife and I go to Nebraska.
I don't think the oldest one can feed them yet.
Oldest one can't feed himself yet. He's lucky to get his drawers around his ankle to get to the restroom in time. All right. What's on your mind, John? What is it you want to talk about?
Okay. First of all, there's some Nebraska basketball news, and that is that Fred Hoiberg and come on, what's the guy's name? Matt
Abel Samaya.
Yeah, they've parted ways, which is shocking. Because
10 years, something like that.
Yeah, Matt has been with him for a very long time. So
Indeed.
that is surprising, and I think one of the Omaha writers tweeted that was a sign that Nebraska doesn't want to live on the transfer portal for it as a philosophy of getting players. So, or maybe that was a guy that they just said, you got to give this guy up. I don't know. I could speculate on things, but that'd just be speculation.
He, according to Kevin Knight's write-up on cornnation.com, Abdelmassi was an important recruiter for the Huskers, getting both Bryce McGowan's Jr., Wilhelm Breidenbach, and others. McGowan's, of course, the first 5-star recruit to commit to Nebraska high school in program history and the highest-rated recruit in the modern era for the Huskers. He did take a leave of absence for medical reasons back in December, but did come back. He's a top 40 coach under 40 back in 2020. So
you're going to have to find a recruiter because that's not Fred's cup of tea. So hopefully he's got somebody in mind that he's going to be able to pull
Doc
in.
Sadler.
John Johnston.
Yeah, I suck at that. God, you're tall. You want to play? You're really tall. We need a really tall guy this year, but maybe 2. Okay, what's bothering me?
Yes.
Okay, you've seen those progressive ads where the guy is a counselor for people that turn into their parents.
Yeah.
You've seen recently that they released new ads for March Madness.
I've not seen.
Okay, well, they have. They've released new ads. And I you know what? This is starting to bother me because this fucking guy is making no headway on this shit whatsoever. You'd think after showing these ads for 18 years now, this guy would at least make some headway on having people not become their parents, but they're the same fucking people still becoming their parents. He is the shittiest counselor ever. And they're using him to sell insurance.
Time out. Let's you got to break down the ads, John. He's not talking to the same people. In each commercial, it highlights different individuals. Wait. You have to pretend that the cameras aren't there. He's having first conversations with hundreds of people. He's not talking to you, John.
Wait a minute.
He's talking to the guys who wear socks and sandals or whatever it is that Todd does. I don't know.
You know what? There is a very specific reason why you wear socks with sandals, Greg, and I'll tell you what it is.
Oh, God.
It's because when you look at your kids, you go and you put on, let's say I don't know, let's say your 12-year-old daughter is acting up and is acting like a mad person and is crazy. And you're going, okay, we're going to soccer. And you come downstairs with socks and sandals on and she just shits her pants right in front of you. And you look at her and go, okay, here's what's going to happen now. I can wear this to this fucking soccer game. You don't say fucking, but I can wear this shit to this soccer game. Or you can start listening to your mother. Because that's the worst one of the worst threats you can do with your children, not they're your age, you're not your kid's age, but as they get a little older, is to absolutely embarrass the living shit out of them in public. And that takes being willing to embarrass yourself. And if you're a dad, you shouldn't care because you're doing it for your children.
So what you're saying is I should find my old fanny pack.
That would be good. Yeah. You should also always on hand, you should always have at least one pair of white gym socks that go all the way up to your knee, not over your knees.
Not over your knees, but up to your knees.
Just to the bottom of your knees. Preferably you're willing to wear with shorts.
Preferably with colored stripes at the top. Right.
Oh, I could do that.
Yeah. See,
what's a good age? How old should my children be?
13.
Okay, when they're turning. Okay.
You'll start to know when it's going to be effective. You'll know when it's ready,
Okay. I like it.
Okay. In one of the new commercials, the guy is talking to the same guy. He's trying to walk around with the supermarket on, and the guy is fascinated with the butcher's slicing meat. He's the same guy the guy is trying to counsel about his refrigerator not being a time machine. So clearly he's not getting through to that guy. I question how good a counselor consultant this guy. Jesus.
First of all,
this is the off-season shit we're forced to deal with.
Who's not fascinated by going to the butcher counter and watch them perfectly slice some steaks or, whatever they need to do? Like that's tremendous. That is no different than if it were older times and you go to a blacksmith shop and you're watching him work and mold the metal. You're watching an artist, a craftsman at the very highest level.
Oh my God. I know this really shitty counselor consultant guy you could hire. He's not really good, but he'll act concerned about you.
Can we have like parenting tips from Todd and John every week in the offseason?
That's the offseason.
I was thinking the same thing, Greg. I think we should, each time on our podcast, we should have the segment on parenting tips from Todd and John.
I'm going to bring a new scenario every week.
Okay.
And we're just going to workshop it. And we're like, well, guys, what's your take? What should I do?
Okay. You want one of the best tips I can give you?
Is it going to be teach my son how to swear?
No.
Okay.
We've already done that.
No, we haven't, and we're going to wait a while.
I've already given you that tip.
Sure. Yeah.
The biggest tip I could probably give you is never don't ever play children's music to your kids.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that.
There's no reason. There is no reason to ever do that.
I admittedly, and I think I've said this on the show before, I don't listen to a ton of music anymore. It's largely podcasts that I listen to. But a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, again, have language that definitely around the 6-year-old, probably not the best to be playing. For example, I can't play this fucking show in front of him, right? But so when it's music time, I like to put on 90s alternative. I like to put on on Pandora. I have I've done like searches by bands, and then of course it plays similar music. So I have a Supertramp station. I really enjoy music from that era, and I'll throw in some 80s stuff too. I got like a Billy Joel in it, but that again, I've expanded beyond just those basic parameters.
You're raising them right, Greg. You're raising them right.
You need to add the Carpenters. And Erasure. Yeah. I
got a Johnny Cash one.
You know why? Because the Carpenters always sang nice songs that were kind of sad inside, but they were really melodic, and she has a beautiful voice, and your wife will never get upset about playing the Carpenters. Unlike if you play them like Sonic Youth. Or Suicidal Tendencies. Don't play them Suicidal Tendencies.
Look, she's never going to listen to this, but I have to have a talk about my wife, guys. She said something to me over this past weekend that hurt me in my very core.
Oh shit, was it Tom Brady? She likes Tom Brady.
Can I have my lunch pass or my lock? What is my hall pass?
No,
I'm cashing my hall pass.
It was worse. She judged me for watching movies of a certain age or era starring a certain Duke.
John Wayne.
She's
what's
like,
judgeable? What's judgy on that?
She's like, I can't remember how it got started, but she's like, well, yeah, but you watch that John Wayne shit. I was like, time out. We don't talk about the Duke in that manner. But there have been some Saturdays where I will put on like an old Western, right? And she would say, and I say it's better than a lot of the programming, that's not cartoons. It's not strictly kid-based because, there's no bad language. You have there's no gray area. You have a very defined good guy, bad guy. And I said, so, meaning our oldest, he's not picking up any bad language. She's like, yeah, because he doesn't want to be around to watch it either.
Oh God.
So that's been the joke. I said, well, I could always put on some John Wayne, honey, but
sitting down with you and watch John Wayne in the Cowboys. He will, at 6 years old, he'll see young guys in there being cowboys, and he will latch on to the Western genre.
I don't know if I need to go that far.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of terrifying.
All right. Well, this has been a terrific show of nothing really Nebraska athletics related.
Hey, we went through
Okay.
We went through wrestling.
Let me rephrase.
Baseball.
Allow me to rephrase.
A thorough dissection of spring football.
The tardiness that I brought to the show brought with it a complete derailment of anything truly Husker related. So for that, I apologize. But we'll say this week, as we said last week, it's the off season, bitches. And if you want to help keep us on track, then ask us a Husker related. We'll mailbag it, for a little while. Ask us a Husker related question. We'd be more than happy to share our thoughts. Or if you want to be part of our parenting segment, throw us a child scenario, and we will. Not me. We'll hear from the experts. John and Todd will give us their thoughts on how to raise our children, and it'll be the best because we know that John's insane.
My kids are fine.
His kids turned out well.
One of them chose to go to Minnesota, so I don't know. So John's insane.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to hear? Todd's
a pinko commie bastard.
Yeah.
So we're going to be really interesting on the responses that we get on raising your children.
I don't think I should tell this story about my daughter without asking her permission to tell it because
you ask in the next week, and if she gives you the green light, you share it next week.
We could also add in that Todd can give dating tips.
God. Yeah,
you could tell him which way to swipe, Todd.
There you go.
All right. So ladies and gentlemen, in the comments, wherever you find this particular show, be it YouTube or on Corn Nation, describe your potential match. And then Todd will tell you to swipe left or swipe right. Now, here's the thing. I don't know which one's which. I don't know if you swipe right, that's keeping them or dropping them or whatever. I
think we should stick with the parenting tips.
No, it's already on the thing. He's not editing that part out.
John, I don't know if you remember, but last week when my boy came down here and told me goodnight, I was like, yeah, I got to edit this out. And I completely forgot. So nothing gets edited out of the show.
And I think that's okay. I don't
Nothing.
think we're going to be up for competing with Malcolm Gladwell's podcast.
If it makes you feel any better, I don't even know who that is.
Malcolm Gladwell?
Yeah.
Outliers.
He's a writer. I don't think he's he is an excellent writer. I don't think he's particularly writes good conclusions on stuff. I think he's really lazy in science, but whatever.
Well, most
I'm jealous
are.
because he sells shit. He can write a not really well-researched book and sell the fucking shit out of it. Like Outliers. Okay, we should go. We should go now.
Yeah. Greg, you need to wrap this up. You need to do the whole sign-offy thing so we get it right. Because
were you concerned?
Because the sign-on-y thing was a little bit out of hand.
Oh, it was excellent.
Okay.
How about
All
a morning
right.
to you?
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for joining us for another spectacular Five Heart podcast here on CornNation.com and the SB Nation Podcast Network. The Five Heart podcast wouldn't be possible without Todd Wolverton and John Johnston. They are the gears that make this machine work. They are the gasoline that fuels this show, this program. Brought to you completely free of charge, thanks to our tremendous sponsors. And we couldn't do it without all of our terrific partners here on the SB Nation Podcast Network and on YouTube. So as always, Todd Wolverton, for our founder and fearless leader, John Johnston. I'm Greg Mahochko, reminding you this week and every week that Five Heart is all the heart you need. John?
Go, Big Red.
Todd?
Pass the Jamesons. Pass the Jamesons. I need more Jamesons.
Oh, my God. And dating tips from Todd.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.